I'm cooking a big Sunday lunch today. So, hi buddy. So we're gonna start with lamb, and I'm gonna actually separate these and turn them into little cutlets. And then with the lamb, I'm gonna marinate it with some lemon, rosemary, garlic, very traditional. And then I'm gonna try to create this orange glaze, which is what we had when we were in Capri. And I'm gonna try. It was amazing, so I'm first gonna take this and cut this up. So if your butchery skills are not very good, and I mean, I'm not gonna lie, mine are pretty good, but if yours aren't, then make it easy for yourself. So you're gonna cut in between the bone. See there? Okay, so turn it over and just make these little marks and cut straight through. I then hold it up like this and cut straight down through, but that's where you're aiming for. You obviously don't want to cut through the bone, so make little marks and cut through the flesh. For the marinade for the lamb chops, I'm going to put it in a bag and let them kind of sit for a couple hours. But first off, I'm going to take the garlic and some rosemary, olive oil, pestle and mortar, and make it into like this kind of really rough paste. Before I do that, I'm going to add my secret ingredient to a lot of my cooking, which is anchovy. So I'm going to cut this up, add it in, and kind of pulverize it in. This will act as like the salt. You won't taste anchovy. And again, if you're not an anchovy person, you can leave it out, but I recommend not. And then just kind of pulverize this into like a really, really rough paste. I say give it maybe, I don't know, pound on it for 1 or 2 minutes. So this is the end result, and I gave it a very small squeeze of lemon juice, and the lemon also in the marinade helps like break down the lamb. Also, Matt pointed out it's Saturday, not Sunday. These are gonna sit in the bag, and I've just kind of like used my hands to smush it all around. And I'm not gonna put them back in the fridge. It's 3 o'clock, we're probably gonna eat somewhere around 5. It's better to just get them at room temp and keep them out. So I'm not gonna put those back in the fridge. Okay, next on, we're gonna try to make this orange glaze. So these are grocery store. I've got some from my garden. Now, I don't know what's in the glaze. I think it's orange, rosemary, and maybe butter. I might throw in a bit of garlic. I don't know. This is gonna be a real trial and error because it was just something we ate. And I juiced it through this. You don't want any of like that left over, the pulp. And I am going to put it in, you have to put it in a heavy bottom pan. If you put it in like a tinny thin pan, it will not be good. So you get like a really heavy pan, and I'm gonna take one of my sprigs of rosemary, and I might use half of this because it's quite punchy. And I am going to put on a high and reduce this maybe down to half. Okay, this is the glaze. So what I did is about 5 minutes into the boil, I took out the rosemary because I could tell by just the scent that it was gonna be too rosemary if I left it. And then I added a splash of balsamic vinegar and about 1 tablespoon of butter. Let it reduce. When it was down to almost here, we added in maybe a tablespoon of honey. And I can tell basically, I mean, this is close. It's really good. I'm gonna add a little bit of salt. I'm gonna add a little bit of olive oil and maybe a touch more honey. And I think this might be it. Okay, I added the tiniest little drop of honey. I added salt for seasoning. And then now I've just added about another tablespoon of butter. And the flavor's there. This is really good. So I think once this butter melts in, this is gonna be it. And I can also tell by the sizzling. Hear that sizzling sounds like thick, almost like syrup. Okay. I'm gonna take it off. I mean, it's delicious. This is so good. Fresh cracked pepper. Okay, now this is quite chefy, but this is how you know a glaze is done. So you take your spoon and I can't even do it. You wipe your finger through the spoon and then you hold it up. If it doesn't drip down, see that top part has stayed? That means you know it's the right thickness. It's freaking amazing. Okay, these have been marinating for about 2 hours. So again, I did not put them in the fridge. I just kept them at room temp. So I'm gonna put them on a big tray now and just season them generously with salt and pepper before grilling. Time to cook the lamb. So the salt and pepper have been on them for about an hour. I've got a cast iron on high. I'm gonna heat this until I see it start smoking, and then these are gonna go probably maybe a minute aside, maybe 2. When you put the meat down, you wanna hear that. You wanna hear the like quite aggressive sizzle. If you put the meat down and you hear nothing, take the meat off, pan is not hot enough. The kind of color you're looking for. So that was about, I'm gonna say 2 minutes. And I don't put any oil in the pan because the lamb has enough fat. Okay, the lamb is now cooked and I've just heated the glaze through, and I'm gonna cover the whole thing with the glaze. And I'm just gonna kind of make sure that everything is coated, and you're gonna get the whole thing